From corporate banker to a full-time trader, find out in this episode how Iris made her first $1 million to trading before the age of 30. Hey guys, welcome to the Modern Wealth Podcast, where we aim to empower, enrich and evolve your lives. Every week we invite absolutely amazing individuals and guests to come and share their stories, which will inspire you to make big moves financially, physically, mentally, in whatever form, right? And today we have a very, very special guest. Her name is Iris. Iris is a full-time trader, right? Absolutely amazing story. She achieved her millions before the age of 30 years old, right? Investing and trading primarily in the stock market. So today we're going to dive deeper into her story, what it takes for her to succeed in investing, what it takes for her to succeed in trading, on a daily basis as well. And again, hopefully you guys get some insights. I've really learned from her as well, right? So again, welcome Iris. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hi Resh, nice to be here and have a conversation with you as
Yes,
well.
absolutely. Iris, I want to ask you a question. So again, I think the majority of guys who are, maybe brand new to you, could you just introduce yourself a little bit about your background, who you are and stuff?
Hey, hi everyone. So my name is Iris. As you can tell that my English got some accent because I am not a Singaporean. I basically came to Singapore about, I think it's more than 15 years ago already. So I came here under a scholarship. I studied here in NUS. And after graduation, I started with the normal route, which is the employee kind of track. And after that, I realized there's little passion, but there's a lot of stress. So that is where I hit the turning point that I need to make some changes. I need to actually focus more on loving myself rather than, every day think about working hard as an employee, making money, but really have little time to spend the money.
So you're the very smart kind of. You're the smart student who came to Singapore who beats all the Singapore students.
I would say I am the kind that once I have a goal, I will work really hard. So I wouldn't say I'm very smart, but I would say that, I will work hard to get a good grades because I know that this is important. Yeah, which is also the same reason why once I realized working as an employee isn't really the thing that I want. That's when I started to kind of find the alternative source of income for myself.
So you're a very, very focused person. If you have a goal, you'll go out and achieve your goals. You're the kind of girl.
Yes, that I have to agree.
Awesome,
yes.
That's fantastic. But give us the background, right? Like when you were a child and whatever not, was it a very difficult environment you grew up in? Was it were you from a middle class background? What was the background you grew up in?
I will say I am pretty blessed in a way that my parents, they are not very wealthy, not very rich, but they are like those mediocre middle class. So I don't have to worry about food. Yeah, I can go to school, I can buy the books that I want. Yeah, so I would say that I was growing up in a very loving family whereby my parents are very supportive for myself. That's how I can stay focused on what I really want. But when you were young, what you really want is what your parents tell you what is important, which is to study really hard, get a good grades. So that was my focus. So I studied really hard, get good grades. That's how I can come to Singapore, such a nice place.
Yeah. So the dream was the dream always come to Singapore, or was it like tell me a bit more about that journey? I'm quite interested.
It wasn't.
It wasn't Singapore.
It wasn't
something else. Second choice.
Because when study hard was your goal, of course you will need to ask yourself what is the best university in the world.
You want to go Harvard or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but as you're growing older, then you start to see more about the reality. As in going to the US, the cost is one thing, and also competitive. And I didn't want to put too much pressure on my parents. I didn't know the time my parents has already set aside some money for me to go overseas. I didn't know until after I started working. Yeah, so to me is that after I did the calculation, the time the exchange rate between the Chinese yuan and the US dollar is about 7. So I was like, it was a big burden to my parents. And then just nice, because my school was in a foreign languages school. So it has some quotas to go for the interview to the scholarship in Singapore. So Singapore and China, they have this scholarship, which they hire students from the senior high school, which when we are about 15, 14 years old.
Okay.
So we come here, go through some bridging course, and after that we go to the university. So either NUS or NTU. Yeah, so I heard about that. To me, it's a perfect one because Singapore has a very good reputation in China.
Sure.
It's a safe country, beautiful garden city, and of course education-wise, NUS is like among the top. So to me, it's like a no-brainer. So I just studied hard for the interview, and I got the quota, and then that's how the story begins. I came to Singapore.
Wow. How old were you?
The time I was turning 17 years old. Yeah.
Wow. So you came to Singapore, you went to NUS and did really well too?
I would say it's okay. So I graduated with first class honors.
How's that okay, Iris? That is fantastic.
But it was in electrical engineering.
Okay.
So we call it double E.
Yeah, double E, yes. Double E. So you did double E in school, first class honors, right?
First class
but
honors.
again, you worked really hard, you trained, as in you studied really hard and you made it happen.
Yes.
Okay, awesome, fantastic. So that was your path, and very interestingly, from there you went into finance, right? Engineering. You didn't become an engineer, right? But you decided to pursue a degree, like a career in finance. How did that happen?
It happened after I went for my internship.
Okay.
So in the third year, we have this kind of tradition that we can go for the industrial attachment for 6 months. So we're basically spending 1 semester to go for that. So I got an offer from Rolls-Royce, and I went there. I did my 6-month internship. And after that, they also gave me the return offer. But it was during the 6 months I realized I wasn't pretty cut off as to be an engineer. Because I was in their R&D.
Okay.
So every day I was basically talking to my laptop and reading research paper, designing all those models, run simulations, and then the only person that I talked to frequently on a daily basis was my supervisor. Yeah, so I kind of realized that wasn't the journey that I want. I want something that is more passionate. At the same time, I see the life they are living. I want something that is more, I would say, higher income based. So that is how I landed in finance. It's more to find a job, very practical. It's to find a job with higher income and also higher potential. So I remember when I shared with my supervisor, because they were giving me the return offer, so I told him that I am actually going to the finance. Then he replied my email. Then he told me, that's always the case. People always find that finance is a bigger cake. It's normal. I wish you all the best. Something along the line. Yeah.
And you went on to your next company?
That was an internship. So
okay.
I started looking for a job. And because I need to go to finance, so but my background wasn't finance. So the first one wasn't really the bank. But I know that my destination is the bank. So I started with a company in Singapore called Phillip Capital. From there, I moved on to DBS and then City Bank, and then self-employed, like myself as the boss.
So you were DBS City Bank. But what were you doing in DBS City Bank? What did you learn?
I was the relationship manager there.
So you're RM in DBS City Bank.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you went from selling plans to investing for yourself?
I would say it's kind of the similar because the communication is all about investment. But as a banker, you face a lot of restrictions. I feel that I have a lot more that I would like to tell. I have a lot more that I can do. So while I was working as a banker, it was also the period of time that my knowledge in investment has been kind of growing exponentially. Because you kind of feel that everything is in line.
So do you learn, so what sparked that interest in trading, investing? Like what started it? Was it working in DBS, or was it like some other desire?
It's I don't know. I don't know whether it's because of my parents, because my mom did invest a lot. Or I wouldn't say she's investing, but she's like go to the stock market, stock exchange a lot. Because the time, very old school, they have to literally go to the stock exchange and sell and buy at the counter. And sometimes it's over the phone. And when she go there, she brought me along. So I was like,
This is
since
back
young,
back in China?
back in China.
Okay.
So since young, I was kind of growing up in the kind of environment.
Okay.
I didn't know what she was doing, but
Okay.
I know that that is the place whereby she can get to make additional money.
Wow.
So I think that was where maybe the seed was planted.
Sure.
So when I would feel like I kind of start with my job,
Yeah.
when I was looking for my alternative,
Yeah.
that is the first thing that came to my mind.
Ah.
Yeah, but I would say after I get to know more about stock trading
Mm.
or investing in general, I realized the one thing I love the most about the stock trading is, especially when you have been working as an employee or working in a team for so long, is that you don't have to answer for any other people's mistakes.
Sure.
You take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Make sure you do well, do it right, and you will get the reward that you
For sure.
you deserve.
So
it's very simple.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
and
you
then
and the computer.
Yeah, so and you don't have to stay at the computer for long hours.
Sure,
Just
sure.
couple of minutes,
Yep.
you're down for the day,
Yep.
and you're happy. And if let's say you have to fine tune anything, you work on yourself.
Yep.
But imagine if you were to work with people, sometimes it really is
Yeah,
out of your
it's
control.
It's not easy, right?
Yes,
Sometimes it's
yes.
not easy. Working with different people will require different skill sets. I would say, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. So Iris, tell us. So you were in DBS. You were working as an RM and everything. So you were trading along the way as well.
Yes.
So what made you say, you know what, I'm going to leave this to be basically just trade for myself and just do this full time? At what point do you decide to then make the next move, the next transition, and what was the trigger that said, enough is enough, let me move on?
I would say the trigger happens before I have the confidence to say that enough is enough. Yeah, because I think one thing I realized as I was working as an employee is that when I think about my career progression, usually what I did is that I will look at my boss, I'll look at my boss's boss, and I'll ask myself whether that is what I want. Then I realized that every time when I ask myself this question, I didn't feel the passion in myself. I look at the career path, I look at the other alternative options, I realized my passion wasn't there.
Yeah.
I feel that I was working because I need the income, I need to make it grow, that's it. But every time when I go to work, it's that every day when you wake up, you feel disappointed. You feel upset.
Sure.
You don't look forward to the day,
Yeah.
which you will spend more than, I would say, half of the time at your work, more than half of it. Yeah, so that is where I realized that I need to quickly find out, I would say, the alternative source for my income. And I started trading. So to answer your question, when is the time that I say, okay, I made the change, is when I start to see the consistency in my trading income. And when I see it, growing bigger and bigger to the point whereby it can match my income. And when I see it become consistent, then I was like, okay, looks like I don't need this anymore. And I'll just call it, that's it. Yeah.
Wow. So Iris, I'm just very curious, right? So how long did you take to go from just starting out to having an income from trading that could replace your income?
It took longer than I expected. Yeah, but I have to say that I wasted a lot of time. And the fact that I was a scholar kind of contributed to that a lot.
Why?
Not in a positive way. Yeah, because it's very interesting because I thought I could figure it out myself.
Okay.
I was like, I can figure out AUS.
Everything, yeah.
I could figure out all the
Trading,
way.
yeah.
So how tough can trading be?
Yeah.
So, and we are living in a very, I would say, supporting environment
Yeah.
whereby Google, YouTube is everywhere.
Sure.
You need anything, you just Google.
Sure.
There will be a lot of information. The
Yeah.
only catch is you don't know whether, how
It's correct,
reliable it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's free. So I wouldn't have thought I could have the eyes to tell.
Okay.
And I try, I listen, and it's only when you play with the money, you make some profits, you don't know why it worked. You thought you are good, but actually it is the moment when you lose money, then you realize actually you didn't know anything. Yeah, so I tried a few times, didn't really work. I would say I wasted about 1 to 2 years time before I feel that I come to the conclusion that really need other people's help. So that's where I become humble and start to learn from others by investing in their courses. And I would say for myself, I was very fortunate that I haven't come across coach or teachers that I kind of regret that I joined the course. I would say that everybody I learn from, they are really I appreciate the knowledge that they share with me. So from their sharing, I kind of integrate everything. Initially, it didn't really work out for me because a lot of strategies requires a lot of time, and when you're working full time at night, even though you want to do something, even though you knew you need to do something, but you feel very exhausted. And when you stare at the computer, you look at the charts moving, when you get lost, you're like, oh my God, okay, I just do it the next day. And then the next day never really comes. So I realized that I have to do something to put it in turn it into something that doesn't require much of my attention. In the meantime, it doesn't require much of my time. Yeah, so that process itself takes some time.
Interesting.
Again.
So I was very curious, right? So, you mentioned that it took 1-2 years to really figure it out. You learn from different coaches eventually after humbling yourself down, and then it's a crazy process, but you wanted to find a way in which you could actually not be able to stare at the chart so much, spend less time, but be able to make more income. Isn't that everybody's dream, right? Like that's literally everybody's dream, right? So what was the strategy that specifically you employed that enabled you to do that, right? And to make enough income to replace, whatever you're getting from DBS. And obviously that was a big amount, right? Because, they obviously pay pretty well. So, right? So tell me.
I call it the 1 hour a day trading formula.
1 hour a day.
1 hour a day.
Come teach me, please.
Initially is because I know that the maximum time is 1 hour, so I call it 1 hour a day. But as we are getting a good hand of it, currently, make a guess how long I spend.
I don't know, 15 minutes?
I thought you would give a few answers, then eventually get it correct. Yes, 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, but I would say 1 hour is kind of the sufficient time. Yeah, so it started with, do you know that the stocks are actually moving before the market starts?
Yes,
pre-markets. Yeah, so to make it efficient, one thing we need to do is to focus on the right candidates because there are thousands of stocks out there. If we were to try and look at all of them, we will get lost.
So let's start with a little bit more specific. You are focused on US stocks, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. So the stock market that she's looking at is the US market.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So continue.
Yeah,
so you look at pre-market movements and then.
I look at the pre-market movements, and then I will look at because in the pre-market they will already have the price.
Sure.
So from there, I will assess whether today this stock is more likely to go higher or more likely to go lower.
Okay. How would you know that?
There are certain criteria that I will check through a checklist. So doesn't mean that every time you can check all of them off from the checklist.
Sure.
But the more you can check off from the checklist, then the more likely this thing's gonna go in that direction.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I look at the stocks, and you might feel that thousands of stocks plus the checklist is gonna take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But our human brain is super powerful. Like for me, I don't use any software.
Yeah.
I always tell my students it's a very traditional way. I look at the charts. I just click one by one, and in 5 minutes, that's it.
Okay.
So within 5 minutes, I will have on my watch list about 10 plus minus stocks. So I will have some on my long watch list. So those are the stocks I will look for an idea to buy. I look for a signal to buy, hoping to sell at a higher price.
Okay.
Then I will have a few on the short watches.
Okay.
So those are the stocks I feel that today is going to go lower, but I need to look for an opportunity or the right timing to get in, so that when the price go down lower, I can benefit.
Okay.
Right. So when I have this, then I wait for the market to open. When the market opens, I will just ignore all the rest of the stocks. I just focus on all those that is on my watch list. I go through them one by one just to see whether anything looks interesting.
Okay.
If it looks very interesting, fulfill the criteria, then I will just quickly set my entry, my stop loss, my target. I'll just leave it there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. And can I and how many trades are you placing?
I just take last week as an example. That still was a very short week for me because the first Monday was a public holiday for the US, and then Friday I have some dinner arrangements, so I was only left with 3 days to trade. Right. So Tuesday I saw a few potential opportunities, but like I mentioned, they have to fulfill certain criteria before you put your money down on the table. So Tuesday and Wednesday we saw a few signals but didn't really trigger, so I just canceled my order. On Thursday itself, I spotted an opportunity about 4 minutes after the market opens, and after that I just took action. Took action means I placed my order, and then my order was there, but it takes some time because you need to confirm the information. So it took about 2 minutes. Then the information was confirmed, so the order was automatically filled. Then in about 20 plus minutes, I hit my target, and that's it. So for that day, it's one trade. So usually when I'm trading, it's roughly about 1 to 2 trades a day. But the thing is, I also don't really trade every day.
Interesting. So I think I watched a couple of videos, right? So essentially, it's you have your limit orders, trigger orders, and then you just leave it there. And if it does hit, it hits, right? So like there can be 4 trades you place, but maybe 1 triggers, and then it plays out accordingly. Am I right to say that?
To fulfill the objective that it has to meet the condition first, we cannot use the limit order.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to use. I'm not sure whether it's too technical, but we are using this thing called the stop limit order.
Okay,
so the stop limit order will only be working when the condition is met.
Is met, yeah. So only when the condition is met, let's say for example you're on a long, if it goes above a certain price, then you basically trigger the order, right?
Yes. So this is where things gets a bit counterintuitive, because when people
Why don't buy low instead of buying higher?
Buy low
right?
and sell high, but it's actually buy high and sell higher.
Yeah.
The reason why you want to buy high is because you want to have the confirmation of the buyers.
Interesting. Wow. And what is the instrument you're using? So you mentioned it's US stocks, but are you using options? Are you using what exactly are you using to create this?
Just now what I mentioned, the one is using stocks.
Okay.
Yeah, but I always share with my community this thing that options, stocks, these are just vehicles, trading vehicles.
Sure.
If I know the direction of the stocks, it's a matter of whether I choose this vehicle to get there or I choose that vehicle to get there. Yeah. So the most important thing is when you look at the chart, are you able to tell that whether this information is confirmed, whether the direction is confirmed?
Well, what's your favorite vehicle?
Favorite vehicle? Actually, I don't really have a preference between stocks and options because each of them have their pros and cons.
Yeah.
So for stocks, what I like is simple. I can set a bracket order. I walk away.
Sure.
Right. I can leave it in the IBKR, wait for the order to be triggered. But that cannot be fulfilled using options.
Yes.
So if I were to use options, I have to set an alert. Once the price reach the level, I have to go and manually, place the orders of the options.
Cool.
Yeah. So that is something personally I find it a bit troublesome. So usually for day trade, I will just put it simple using the stocks. Yeah.
What time do you sleep?
I stay about 12:30 to between 12:30 to 1 around there.
So you sleep about 12:30, 1 o'clock, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. So your trades will have to, so once it's triggered, for example, right? Do you wait and monitor, or if there's a TP, you just leave it be, or how does it work?
Yeah, a lot of people will think that we have to stare at the screen for long hours. I don't like the kind of, you can do that. Some people, they enjoy doing that. But for me, I feel that that's not for me. I prefer the kind of trading style whereby I be like a sniper. I watch for the opportunity. Once the opportunity is there, make sure I pull my trigger. But once I'm in the trade, I really don't want to be bothered about that. Because it's kind of frustrating if you see the price up and down. Rather just leave it there.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, right? So in closing the trade, because in opening it's you're watching snipering and you're entering, right? But in closing the trade, as in you're leaving it for TP, or do you close it before you sleep?
That is a very important question. Yeah, because there will be 3 outcomes. One, of course, is the most ideal one. It hit the target. Then the second outcome is it hit the stop loss. Then there will be the third outcome, which is kind of in between.
Ranging,
Yes. So if it's the third outcome, I will. So for me, it's very simple because I start about 1 o'clock or maybe sometimes 12:30. So I'll make sure that every day 12:30, I just check is there any open orders. If there's still open trades, I'll just close them regardless. So
Iris, I want to ask you, right? So again, you mentioned there's 3 outcomes, right? Either you win, hits a TP, hits SL, or whether it's swimming, ranging, right? So what happens if it's ranging? Do you keep it to see what happens, or do you close? How do you do it?
Yeah, so we shouldn't keep it and see what happens.
Okay.
But I think more importantly is to know why we do trading in the first place, is to have a lifestyle, right? We don't want to become slave of trading, don't want to turn it into another job. So for me, I make it very simple. Before I go to bed, I go and check on my phone whether there's any open trades. If there is, that you mentioned, ranging, I'll just close all of them.
So you don't, rainy trades, just close them, you move on, tomorrow's fresh day, you start again.
Every new day is a fresh day.
Every new day is a
Yes.
fresh day. Huh? Interesting.
Yeah.
So, Iris, I have one question to ask you, which is this. When you have a bad day, a stop loss day, for example, right? Next day you go back, how do you, like, re-energize yourself? Because sometimes you're like, okay, cool, wow, today's been tough, I lost couple $1,000, right? Then tomorrow, how do you get back and have that fresh new perspective or mindset?
Yeah. That is, again, another very, very good question. Yeah, so people always feel that losing trades means I didn't do well, I took a wrong action or something wrong with myself, that's why I had a losing trades, right? That's how people normally think. I used to think that way as well.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking in such a way, you will have a lot of demoralized day, like having losing streaks. Then you will start to questioning yourself, you start to wonder whether this is really working. Right? So when I realized that, I started to track my trades. But I noticed one important thing, which is you actually lose trades to make money.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you realize that, when it is supported by your trap data, you will no longer be held back by the losing days.
Okay.
And to make things easier for myself, because I always want to make things simple. People, like just now you asked me how many trades I trade every day, right? So there are times whereby I will take more than 2 trades. I will take multiple trades, but I will make sure that for this day, the maximum loss for myself is just, put it simple, 3% down for 3%. So if I lose 3% already, I'll just take it that the day is not my day.
3% of your capital, 3% of the trade size, or
3% of my account.
Account size. Okay.
So every trade, I will put down 1% on the table.
Okay.
I will use that 1% to get more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you do it, huh?
That's how
your
I do it.
sizing and everything. Okay. Interesting. Guys, I hope you guys have learned a lot from this session. I am learning so much from Iris. I can't wait to learn more. Right. So again, after the break, we're going to get through some deeper stuff with regards to her journey, exactly where she had some challenges, what she faced in a trading journey, and how her students have succeeded as well. Right. So again, if that would interest you, make sure you tune in and stay tuned. So guys, welcome back. All right. So again, if you've enjoyed Iris's sharing so far with regards to her journey in trading, right, make sure you like the video. Make sure you do follow her as well. Right, all her links are in the description below. But Iris, so I learned so much from your style and your way of trading, your mindset, and a lot of these things. Right. So can I ask you, so you said you wasted that first 2 years. Right, and
2-3 years.
2-3 years, right? Like going through the wrong things, and eventually you finally found a break, right? What were you doing wrongly in that first 2-3 years, right? Besides not having a mentor, not having a coach, what were you doing wrongly? Was it the wrong instrument? Was it what was wrong?
I think the biggest thing that was holding me back then was the emotion. Yeah. Because imagine you don't have a proper system, plus you have the emotion, then turns out most of the time it is emotion that is taking the control, which is definitely what you want.
Wow.
Yeah, so emotion will lead to a lot of disasters, and it will lead you to the situation whereby you don't even want to check your account. Yeah, and then it takes a lot of time to finally muster up the courage again to try again.
Okay.
Only to see you fail again.
Wow.
So it wasn't really a smooth journey, but now when you look back, I also appreciate the journey. Yeah.
Interesting. And how did you, so emotions is a very, very big thing, right? So, in my community, a lot of guys, they completely understand when you say you get emotional, trade goes against you, you're very emotionally like distraught and whatever not, right? So what was the main thing that helped you get your emotions in check? What was the main thing that you need to make sure your emotions are controlled?
I think this is where the kind of background of engineering kind of kicks in,
Sure.
where I like to track my trades. Because
tracking your trades.
tracking my trades.
Okay.
Because we tend to focus on I don't know whether it's the same case for everybody, but for me, I will focus more on the times where I lose money rather than the times I make money. And when the emotion gets bigger and bigger, it will hit my confidence. So, and I realized that when I see that way, it wasn't really the truth of it. So I started to track my trades. And I realized when I started tracking my trades, I wasn't really losing trades the way I thought it was. And in fact, it becomes like, you start to see that losing trades is just part of the game. Imagine you're running trading like a business.
Sure.
You need some operating costs.
Yep.
And that is part of the operating cost.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and when you know that you have been trading with this kind of winning ratio,
Yes.
and every month you will have the kind of a percentage of the losing trades,
Sure.
you will start to accept that, and you will start to embrace it. And you will focus more on the bigger picture rather than this day I make this trade, I make money or lose money. You won't be bothered about that anymore. But you will be bothering more about, did I apply the system correctly? Did I break the plan? Did I trade because of FOMO, fear of missing out? Or did I trade because if fulfill all the criteria, there is no reason why I shouldn't take this trade? If everything is check, and it turns out to be a losing trade, I will just,
Part and parcel of the game, right?
Yes, it's like, okay, so let it be. I wouldn't really feel much about it.
Sure.
But if I took a trade, it was a winning trade, but it was really, didn't really fulfill any of the thing, I will feel really bad about myself.
Interesting. Guys, Iris, this is exactly what I teach as well. This is exactly what we teach too, right?
Okay.
And it's so guys, again, you're hearing this not just from us, but you're hearing this from, successful traders. And they say the same thing, right? Like, make sure you have your checklist to be in place. And, I think it was really, really amazing when you talked about how, hey, guess what? Losses are part of the game, right? It's your operating costs, it's part and parcel of the game. It will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen. And it's just part and parcel, right? So you move on, right? At the end of the month, your entire operating, how you're operating, for example, you're applying the proper system. And eventually, if you are applying the system, your gains will be more than your losses. And that's how you proceed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
I love it, Iris. Honestly, that's exactly what I keep banging down and teaching. So I'm so glad that we are very much aligned.
Yeah.
I love it, Iris. Thank you so much for sharing that. And how about when you scale your account, right? Like, when it became from a couple of thousand to a few tens of thousands to a few 100,000, right? See, the emotions are very, very different, right? Because now, you see a loss and it's not a small loss anymore, it's a bigger loss. How do you grow that?
Very good question. Just now I try to avoid this, but since you asked this question, I think I'm going to touch on that. How I track or how I do the risk management is a very special way, which I call it the R system.
R system.
Yeah, so
It's my name.
1R, not Resh, but so 1R is equal to 1% of my account size.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, day trade, just now I say 3%, but it's actually 3R. So why I use the R system? Because I don't want that to associate with the dollar amount. Because once you use the R, any trade is just, the maximum risk is just 1R. It becomes kind of an emotion, easy to control emotion once you scale up the system. So even you are managing, say, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but you are looking at it's still 1R. No change.
Okay.
You just need to focus on the R.
Okay.
So it becomes much easier.
Okay. Can you give a specific example, right? So like, what do you mean exactly by 1R? So again, like, so 1R is the percentage that you're risking essentially,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So let's say your account is 100,000.
Sure.
So you put in 100,000 to your account.
Yeah.
If you're using margin account, you can trade more than 100,000.
Okay.
But we look at the actual cash you fork out and put it into the account.
Yeah.
Your 1R is 1% of the 100,000. So your
Okay.
1R is 1,000. So
Okay.
what it means is that if you see an opportunity,
Yeah.
you take action on that.
Yeah.
The worst case for you is to lose the 1R,
1,000.
which is 1,000.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be more if your account size is bigger. Yeah,
okay.
but you just focus on the R rather than the
Okay.
1,000. Then your
Okay.
emotion is like, okay, I'm looking at 1R anyway.
Focus on the R, guys.
Yes,
Focus
yes.
on the R, right?
Yeah.
Very, very important.
Not Resh.
Focus on the R, like what Iris says. So, Iris, talking about the R. Let's talk about the R, right? So, what were some of your biggest challenges in trading? Like, where were some of your biggest pitfalls? Where did you stumble and fall? If you did, right? If you can share that stories with me, I would be very keen.
Biggest challenge? You mean as I was learning as a newbie?
Sure, or your biggest loss, like what really set you back, and you're like, oh, I don't think I can do this. Or was there such an incident in your life?
There was one incident that it was really like a nightmare for me, but luckily I didn't really put in much in that account. I was using eToro, and which is the one mainly to trade for contract difference, and with a lot of leverage.
Okay.
And one day I was putting all of my account into one thing. It's not even a stock.
Okay.
It is called XIV.
Okay.
XIV was like an ETF, but it was like a inverse of the VIX.
Okay.
And that one is really like, I don't know that happened in reality, but the thing is, the one day before, I put in all the account value into there with the leverage. The next day, as I was going to my job, I was searching online. Then I saw a news announcing that this ETF is like paused, and they are gonna close it down, liquidate. That is the first time I realized that once that thing is closed, the shareholder, or not really the shareholder because it's ETF, can only get 20% of the remaining value.
Oh no.
So it was instantly down 80%.
Wow.
And after that, I just get the liquidated value.
Oh,
so that was like a nightmare. Yeah, after that, I never really touched eToro again.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Was it an eToro thing or was it the ETF
No,
thing?
it's just that the thing I put my money
Okay,
in. So
okay,
nothing
okay,
to do
okay.
with eToro, just the thing I happened to select.
Okay.
I thought I was doing some smart decision of putting my money there.
Yep.
But the thing is poor risk management.
Sure.
And with bad luck. But I would say not really a bad luck, because if you do things the wrong way, eventually you will get hit.
Iris, I have the same story as you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The same?
No, so it was also one of my biggest, pit or like downfalls or biggest trading mistakes, which you all can watch in the night that I lost 100,000, right? That video was, essentially it was an ETF that was the inverse of the VIX or something.
Then it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Credit Suisse was the one running it, and then they decide that this thing too volatile. It hits certain threshold, then it triggers the conditional line. Then they're gonna close it down.
Interesting.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. Okay, cool. Hey.
Yeah.
We are more similar than we think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Amazing. So cool. So anyways, good to hear that, right? But so currently right now, with regards to the stocks that you trade, are they so what kind of stocks are you trading, right? So let's say, for example, sure, you mentioned about pre-market movers and all that, but there are thousands, right? So are you focused on what kind of on Thursday, for example, what was the stock that you traded?
The stock I was trading was Tesla.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so you might
are they
think,
more of the blue chips or no?
Yeah, so the next thing is it more of the blue chips, or what I call the popular stocks? Yeah, so this actually add on to the list of why I love trading so much. For day trading in particular, you can trade any stock. So just happened Thursday was the one that everybody knows about, which is Tesla. But there are times which I trade a stock, I also don't know what the company is.
Oh, really? Okay. So you're mainly just looking at price action? I
mainly just look at the price action.
Okay.
Because when I do day trading, I in and out very fast.
Okay.
My Telegram channel is called the Stock Sniper.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually I will in and out the trade for a couple of minutes, sometimes slightly longer, sometimes shorter.
Okay.
Yeah, but the few minutes or maybe 20-30 minutes is all I care about the stock. So that's why I don't really care about the fundamentals, but it's more about the price action for that momentum. So that's why discipline is very important. It has to fulfill the condition before I put the money down on the table.
Interesting. So now, kind of moving away from stocks and everything. So what is Iris going to be in 5 years?
Well, okay, that's a very good question. Oh, you really asked a lot of good questions.
Thank you. You said that many times already today.
Because this one is if you ask me this question slightly earlier, I will have a different answer. But recently, I kind of know very clear the direction I want to head towards to. My idol is actually Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and Ray Dalio.
Okay.
So I know that I'm aiming for much bigger, like not say as good as Mr. Buffett, but that is the kind of a direction. And I also love the kind of a style whereby, you put things simple. You don't have to trade so frequently. Yeah, but stock trading is the way that you can grow your account the fastest. But once you reach, say, a couple of billions, you cannot trade the way how I am trading today.
Okay.
But if you're only looking at, say, a couple of millions, then you can still trade this way. So my goal is to quickly grow my account as much as possible. And then I don't even want to spend 1 hour a day. I want to spend less time. I want to be more focused. I want to, like, Mr. Buffett, become the key shareholders and then to support a lot of business, which I myself feel that it is good for the society, for the world. And then I become, the one that can affect the operation, impact the operation in a very positive way. Maybe not in 5 years. I don't think I can achieve that in 5 years, but that is like currently my biggest goal at the moment.
How many million do you need to grow that to before you can?
I think I need to first grow it to 1 billion, and then I can probably trade the Buffett way. Yeah, so that is so that's why for me, stock trading is my key focus, but I also do value investing as well, because that one is when your portfolio is really big. That is the one that is gonna give you a lifestyle and also be able to impact the world even better.
Amazing. So I'm talking to a future billionaire.
Yeah, I hope that I can do that.
Yeah. Amazing. I love big dreamers. Again, dreams are free. Why not, right?
True.
Absolutely. I love big dreamers. Again, guys, I'm telling you something. It's very, very important that you hang around people who have frequencies like that. I absolutely love hanging around people like Iris who dream big, believe big, and work towards it, right? Like, to make it happen, right? It's one thing to dream, it's another thing to work to make it happen. So, Iris, I'm very happy that I have got to know you today.
Me too.
Yes. And Iris, so a couple of last questions, right? Which is this. So currently, right now, you also do share your strategies and everything as well, right? Like you do share. You have 3,000 people in your Telegram community, people who are following you, your trades and stuff, right? And tell me, so why do you get into that? And has it been very fulfilling? How has it been so far?
It has been very fulfilled. So far, it has been about 1 year since I start to openly share and also teach people how I trade. And I knew I would enjoy the process, but when I actually, start to do that, it's more enjoying than I thought it was. So I really love it. And the thing is, when you start to teach people, the beauty of it is you are getting better as well. Because you have to make it so simple, it's easy for them to follow. You have to also give them a lot of a thought process behind that. Yeah, so for the whole journey, I enjoy helping more people to trade the way how I trade. And I realized that by helping them doing so, I'm also getting better and better. And it kind of motivates me to also like be more active and look out for the opportunities. Because sometimes when you trade by yourself, it becomes very boring. And you'll find, okay, I've already made this amount of profit, I'll just call it a week or call it a month. But if you know that there are people waiting for you to give them the signals or trading together with you, you'll feel more motivated to trade even more, even though you feel
don't
like...
have to. Sure.
Yes.
Interesting. So that's the journey you enjoy, huh?
Yes, I enjoy very much.
So I want to ask you a few questions with regards to people who do follow, right? So obviously, right, as in just being upfront, there'll be people who succeed, people who don't. Right? People who are kind of cut out for it, people who don't really make the cut, right?
Yes.
So can I ask you maybe two sides of it, right? Students what are the characteristics of people who don't make it per se?
Most of from my understanding about my students, those people, majority of them, they didn't make it is because they didn't even have the courage to start. Yeah. Probably because they had experience before. They lost money. The kind of feeling still haunting them. So they just didn't have the confidence to pull the trigger.
How do you let go of it?
You just have to push it through. Yeah, you have to. That is why, going back to the system again, the R. The R can be small. Can be so small that you get into the momentum, the momentum of trading, but it wouldn't affect you too much.
Okay.
Yeah. Then once you see that I can actually do that, I can actually have the consistent results. Then you can increase your R. So it's like managing the business. You slowly scale it up. But you have to
Right.
take the first step out first
I love this R system.
because of
I'm
Resh.
a very big fan. No,
Okay.
just the R system makes sense.
Yeah.
So they just have to push through and understand the system properly. And
Yes.
once they do it, understand it's part of the business, then you again it's really treating it like a business, right? So I really feel this one thing, Iris. Maybe if I can offer my interpretation, right? It's essentially getting away from mindless speculation into properly treating it like a business, right? In anything you have a calculated risk.
Yes,
Right? You
yes.
follow your checklist, there's a calculated risk that you take. Sometimes the risks you take do not work out, it's fine, right? We carry on law of averages, you carry on with that calculated risk and you work and move forward. Right? That's the whole idea behind it.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And the ones who succeed, what is the secret sauce behind the ones who do super well?
The ones who do super well, one of my students, he outperformed me. I have a couple of students that actually did better than me in terms of day trading. So this, he was from one of my first batch
Give me
students.
some numbers, like what kind
Okay,
of...
so he was from my first batch students. And this year, he was sharing with me that he said, Iris, thank you for introducing to me day trading. I didn't know it was so fun. And he said last year, the whole year, I made 350R.
Wow.
So which means grew his account by 3.5 times. Yeah, and he said that was his result for last year. He said this year, so when he was writing to me, it was in mid of March. He said this year, I already at 350R.
Wow.
So that is how amazing. He was super active. Yeah, so I would say that one of the key characteristics for people who really succeed is that they are action takers and they follow the system. If you're an action taker, you don't follow the system,
Yes. You'll
it's
end up-
scary because it's going in the wrong direction.
Yes, yes,
but if you're
yes.
an action taker, you stick to the system, or then you will see your results getting a lot better and better.
That's amazing, Iris. I love it. So much wisdom that you actually shared, right? Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Iris. And I just maybe one last thing that I want to ask you before I end the episode is this, right? So for any people who are aspiring, right, to start on this journey, to be like you, they see you, they are very, very inspired by your journey and your dreams and ambitions, but they're like, I don't really know how to start. I don't have the courage, for example. What's the one advice you give them?
I would say that never disqualify yourself. Really, never disqualify yourself. I have been practicing meditation for some time. And it's through practicing of the meditation, I realized that everybody has a lot of potential in ourselves. But the only person that is holding you back is actually ourselves. Yeah. So stop telling yourself you can't, but tell yourself I can. It's a matter of whether you want to do it or not. I mean, I cannot say for other things, but I can say for sure for stock trading it's not rocket science, because I walk the path. I know it's not rocket science. I mean, you just need to tell between the red and green, or for people who are colorblind, you can turn it into different color.
Sure.
You just need to tell that, and then you just need to run through the checklist, and that's it.
Very nice.
So it's really that never disqualify yourself, but have the confidence that you can do it and take action, take aligned actions. I like what just now you mentioned about hanging around with people with the frequency, and then have the goals, have the dreams. But just having the dream doesn't work. You need to take aligned actions so that you can achieve your dreams. That is very important.
Very nice, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Iris.
Thanks.
Right, Iris, how do people follow you?
You can follow me in my Telegram. It's called the Stock Sniper. Yeah. So from there, I will share from time to time some trades that I take. I will also sometimes I'll just share with them my day trade transactions. The trades that all the trades that I took. So because I know that some of them want to study my trades, so I'll just take a summary there that share with there so they can study.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Iris, for sharing that. Right. So again, guys, the Stock Sniper on Telegram, right? So again, make sure you do follow Iris. Any other social media pages? Or just
I
Telegram
do
mainly?
have the Telegram is the main one.
Okay,
I do
cool.
have a Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
that will be the main.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Again, Iris, thank you so much. Guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. It's been absolutely incredible. I've got so many insights and wisdom from Iris. I have completely enjoyed myself. Thank you so
Me
much
too.
for sharing, Iris. Right, I have learned so much. And again, if you've enjoyed the episode, make sure you smash a like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and do comment down below with regards to some of your best lessons that you've learned from Iris. All right. So thank you very much. And till next time, We'll see you on the Modern Wealth Podcast. Bye bye.